that's very large, and that not everything in Toronto is Toronto, and there's other things attached to it that are also Toronto. But like, what's the
Like
scene
the
like
other
Mississauga is
suburbs?
and all that stuff? Like when I thought about it, I'm like, isn't Mississauga Toronto? And they're like, no, they're separate things, but they're part of the greater Toronto area according to Google.
Yeah.
So it gets not as simple for me.
I would still consider it Toronto, Mississauga, Scarborough. I feel like those places are still Toronto. I feel like when you get out deep to like Oshawa, Bowmanville, Whitby, like those become less Toronto.
Hmm.
Like Hamilton, that's less Toronto. But Toronto's dope. I love it here. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of things that could be better. I mean, I really wish that Toronto would be more open to working with each other and putting each other on as a team, like how they kind of do it in Atlanta and other places that we see. Like Toronto has so much good. It has so much potential. There's so much talent here. And I just feel like if we could let down or let go of that screw face mentality, that we'd be able to push ourselves a lot farther.
It's wild how pretty much you talk to somebody from everywhere that's not Atlanta or the Bay Area, and you get the exact same like that. Everyone kind of says that pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, well, because you see it and it works for them, right? Like teamwork makes the dream work for real. And that's why I was so big on finding management and finding people who are down for you and actually believe in you. Because when you work together like that, like imagine that could be like 5 or 6 different people and all of their networks, right? All their connects. So I can see how it would push them further, but I know that Toronto, it's real politicky and there's a lot of things happening even between hoods and between like just people that you don't even want to really work together because you never know where you could end up. You never know what situations you could be in. And it's unfortunate because you look at people and you're like, wow, you're so talented. Like I want to work with you. Like I want to do things with you, but should I? Because you're involved in this type of lifestyle or this type of scenery,
Right. And it's
right?
and that transcends like beyond just some circumstances which I know exist, but it translates to like everything in life. Like people make those decisions. Like I've had people be like, careful who you feature with. I'm like, say a word, eh? Like don't just say yes to everything, just be wise about it, because
Mm-hmm.
even if you want to talk about the vanity of superficialities, people will judge you on all of the decisions and stuff you make. And so
Yeah,
I don't know how to
I
like
agree.
I don't know how to deal with all of those situations. But it's like, if you're sitting here as an English artist in Montreal, you're almost going, fuck, man, Toronto's so much better because they don't have the French shit. And you almost like want to go to Toronto. Then I talk to people in Toronto and they're like, I just wish we'd all work together. And I'm like, damn, that's exactly what we say in Montreal. It ain't that different.
Mm-hmm. I find like Toronto people work together if they come from the same place. Like if you're from the same hood or you got a cousin like, somewhere, you're gonna end up working with that person over some artist that you may have heard and liked, but you just don't know, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's a personal thing. Like if you know somebody on a personal level, they might work with you, but if you're just coming into the city to pursue music or coming onto the music scene, then people aren't really they're not about it as much because they're waiting for their own friends to do it.
Yeah, that's a huge insight, actually. I think everybody's like that. I think what you just said describes a lot of challenge that a lot of people face with a lot of groups in all levels. Like, I'm talking festivals and shit. They'll go to their friends first, ultimately, on some. That's how it just works out. Like, I had somebody in Seattle kind of explaining how there was this situation going on now that the festivals were reopening. The city's kind of evolved in a more gentrified way. So the people throwing the parties kind of went to their peoples rather than maybe who they should have gone to best represent Seattle. And so like these kinds of arrangements transcends all levels. So it's super insightful that you're pointing that out.
Yeah, man, that's just what I see like in my own experience. That's how people have been with me and I don't claim any hood. Like I don't claim no gang shit and I feel like even people in the industry they kind of just look at me and they're like, I don't know you well enough to do a song with you, or and it's like it's crazy because it's like, okay, well, get to know me then. Like let's link up, like let's make a song, like let's vibe together, get to know me. But they're so against it because there's so much politics they don't know, and like they're like, oh, are you set up, are you this, are you that, you know, and you're just like, oh, never mind then, don't even work with me, you got a
Right.
bad attitude.
I mean, the city sounds again. I don't know. Is there a lot of live stuff that happens in Toronto? Like, let's say in like a non-COVID environment, what's like the live scene like in your perspective? Just like even as a person, forget about being a performer.
Just like nightlife or
Yeah, like for like local music, like opportunities for people to come perform and all of that kind of stuff.
I've been to events and stuff in Toronto where they've brought up and coming artists. Like I think there was this event called Remix that I went to a few times. I've actually like come across some really good artists even just going to their events. Um, but as far as like big festivals and big events that would actually promote a new artist like me, somebody who's still coming up, I feel like it's still so limited. Like people they don't really see the potential of music right now, so they're kind of still doing like they want to host for the big guys before they do the small things.
Yeah, that's definitely. I think that's a universal challenge. What would you do if like how do you solve that challenge? Like in your opinion, how do you get people to like get more noise for Shay 24K to get to that next level?
I think that comes down to having a good team. I mean, like sometimes, especially as a woman in an industry that's so male dominated, I feel like sometimes you need somebody who's stronger than you, or you need somebody who knows the scene or who knows the industry behind you to kind of vouch for you and have people who may never have heard of you before take you serious. It's like sales. Like you go and you're selling an artist or you're selling music to somebody who may have never heard you. Sometimes people don't want to take you serious when you come to them on your own and say, hey, look, I'm an artist, I make music. Sometimes they want to hear it from somebody else. It's like a verification stamp almost, like boom, okay, well, this person's saying that she's good and that's not her just saying it for herself, so maybe I'll go listen instead of her just coming up to me on her own. Like in that sense, I feel like teamwork does a big part of that.
Yo, big facts. I feel like people undervalue the power of a street team. Like I was thinking a lot about music marketing, and up until the internet, like the street team was a much more literal thing, and now it's on the internet. But like that street team added that level of validation. If a bunch of like 18-year-olds be running up and shouting about your name, it's like you can't fake that.
Yeah, it's like it almost like proves that you're good, right? Like when other people are talking about you, when somebody else is talking about you, it's always going to come off better than you talking about yourself, because people are going to take that as bragging, or you know, like maybe you think you're too saucy, like okay, well, it becomes a competition thing almost.
Right.
But like when you have somebody to come out for you and be like, yo, this is my artist and I really believe in her and her vision and her drive, like I really think that you should check her out, you're going to be more inclined to do that because you're like, well, at least she didn't she didn't tell me, you know, like somebody else is telling me and it could be real, so let me go check it.
Right. And you think that
Like I
just
didn't even hear, sorry,
so go on what you say, what were we gonna say?
I didn't hear really Drake promoting his own album. I kept hearing it from other people, right?
Didn't he buy like a bunch of album slots around Toronto at Lyrics?
I think he bought like billboards and stuff, but was that him himself or was that
I'm gonna
somebody
say it
else?
was OVO probably had a hand in that, which I mean when you're Drake, I feel like OVO's an extension of you. So they just achieve
Yeah,
your dreams. Like I'm sure Drake was like or Drake or 40 or one of the other guys he talks about a lot. I'm not that up to date on the Drake camp. One of these dudes was in a meeting and they had like a meeting and they were like, let's run it. Like, but I'm sure he was involved in a decision that would have cost that much money. Yeah, because that's not a
well,
cheap
I
one.
don't know. Yeah, that's true. Because even I know that he had billboards like in other countries and things too.
It's like that's gonna run you. I feel like the boss gets brought in and I feel, yo, I'm telling you, Drake, this is gonna work. Like it's more like
Like,
that's
this
how
is a
the
great idea.
yeah, yeah. Or he
Yeah.
had the idea and they're like, bro, do you know how much this is gonna cost? And he's like, I don't care. Fuck Kanye.
He's like, no, we're winning.
They did.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
But I don't know how that yo, his marketing's on point. That guy is like I gotta give it up to
Yeah, like
Drake.
you don't have to ever see him really get on his Instagram and say like, "Yo, come listen to my album" or anything like that. You see his stuff and you just know where to go.
That's true. And it just well, Spotify will throw it in your face too. Like, trust you ain't escaping Drake
Right?
that day. But that's like a league that's like reserved spots. I don't think like 99% of people could even play that because even like one step down, those guys are still promoting themselves a little bit more.
Yeah, that's true.